The Model Shop live scale modeling show is brought to you by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. Well, good evening, everyone, and happy Easter to everybody out there who's watching with us tonight. This is episode 76 of the Model Shop. We're glad to be with you guys, coming to you live from our shop again here in San Antonio, Texas. We got some lot of modeling work done this week. Tonight's episode is going to be about the Derelict here that you see in the background, the new kit from Mobius in 1/350 scale. We originally just intended tonight to show you an out-of-the-box kit review on that, for those of you who might not have seen that yet. But I was able to get my control boards from Ralph at Tenant Controls really fast, so we got the entire model done and put together and finished up. So we're going to show you the whole package here tonight. We'll start off with the out-of-the-box kit review, and then we'll take you right into a little slideshow I put together and a video at the end showing how the model all went together step by step, for those of you that are interested in following along with that. And then we're going to continue on the bench tonight with our work on the Man in Space kit that we've been working on from AMT. We started off last week with the build of the Gemini Titan II here, and I've got we did the putty work on that one and got the parts ready, so I put together the halves of the main rocket body and got some of the detail painting. So tonight we're going to be working on the bench with it to get the decals put on it and pretty much get it all finished up. And then next week we can move on to the next rocket that we're going to build out of this kit, which is the Mercury Redstone. So we're going to do all 5 of these rockets here, and I'm having a lot of fun with this kit so far. It's all working out really well. So we're going to take a quick break, guys, and we're going to come back and get things rolling right away. It's going to be kind of a short show tonight because of the Easter holiday, but we've got about a good hour or so of show for you here tonight. So sit back and enjoy, everybody. We'll take a quick break and come back with the out-of-the-box kit review of the Mobius 1/350 scale Lost in Space Derelict. Be right back, everybody. Well, here we have for you another Model Shop exclusive out-of-the-box kit review, and this one is of the Mobius 1/350 scale Lost in Space Derelict. This is from the classic Lost in Space episode, The Derelict, from Season 1 of the original Lost in Space. This kit was just released recently by Mobius for the 50th anniversary of Lost in Space. I always thought this was a really cool subject, kind of a really unique design that we see on this, and it was sort of very mysterious looking in the original episode. Nobody really knew where it came from or who created it. If you guys have seen the episode, the Jupiter 2 is sort of traveling through space and it encounters this thing, and they were kind of curious about it, so they wanted to find out if it had any supplies or possibly fuel on board, because they were obviously lost and desperate for those things. So in the process of doing that, they wound up getting pulled inside the huge sort of hangar bay doors. On one end of it opened up and pulled the Jupiter 2 in with a tractor beam, and they were kind of stuck in there. And then they're inside trying to figure out the mystery of how this thing was created and everything. But it's a fantastic little kit. As I said, it's in 1/350 scale. It's around 17 or 18 inches long when it's fully assembled. And you get some nice little options here. You get a in-scale Jupiter 2, which is really cool. It comes with this kit, which has been molded in clear, so you can do some lighting on it. And I've decided to do some lighting on this project overall. We're going to light up the interior of the Derelict itself. You can build this kit either with the hangar bay doors open or close. You can see here on the box art that they depict this in the scene with the Jupiter 2 sort of orbiting around it. And then on the back here you can see we have the ability to have it built with the sort of opening here, and there's a platform on the inside with some interior detail, which is sort of a cardboard backdrop that's included with this kit. And I'm going to be sort of making my own platform in there. There's these sort of tentacles that hung down. If you watch the original episode, you'll see what I'm talking about. And they're simulated there on the cardboard, the flat cardboard backdrop. But we're going to actually make the tentacles so they're more realistic looking, probably using some melted hot glue or some melted clear sprue or something like that. But we're going to place the Jupiter 2 on the inside, sitting on the floor in there, like we saw in the episode. And we're going to do some lighting on this to create some sort of multi-changing colors on the inside of the Derelict itself, and then the rotating fusion core on the Jupiter 2 with the window lit there at the front too, the main flight control window that we saw at the front of the Jupiter 2, and probably the little dome on the top. But let's go ahead and take a look at this kit. Take it out of the box and show you everything. I haven't taken anything out of the plastic bags yet, but we'll do that here for the first time. We'll start off with this bag right here on the top, which is a bag full of clear sprues, and we'll start off with that. You can see that the interesting thing about this right away is that they give you 3 complete Jupiter 2s. Now I'm not sure why they did that. I might have to sort of decipher that a little bit in the instructions as to why they give you 3. But they look to be all the same to me. I don't see any difference in them. Now you have the option here on the Jupiter 2 to either build it with the landing gear up or down. And of course we're going to be building this with the landing gear down. You can see it's pretty small. It's probably about maybe about 2 inches in diameter here. But we're going to use some really tiny SMDs and place them in a circle around here on the bottom. And we've got a chaser circuit that we're going to be using from Tenna Controls to do our spinning rotating effect there. And then we'll just place a couple of SMDs that'll always be on for our window lighting here in the front of the Jupiter 2, and just let a little bit of light bleed through and light the top part of the little dome there. These other little clear parts here, these clear domes, are for part of the Derelict itself. And but I think it's cool that they give you 3 Jupiter 2s if you're fooling around with it, painting it or whatever, and in our case doing some wiring on it. If you screw it up, we've got a spare to work with, so that's pretty neat. And you could also build one up and just kind of have it sitting somewhere else on your shelf if you wanted to, a little small Jupiter 2. But let's go on to this next bag of molded plastic parts, and we'll see here that we have what we call the hangar bay doors of the whoops, dropped a little dome there, don't want to lose that. We have the hangar bay doors of the Derelict itself. These are the arms that can be built either open or closed, as I said. The molds look to be pretty good. There's a couple little swirl marks in them here and there, but nothing really serious that won't clean up with primer. And you've got the sort of orbs here, if you want to call them that go onto the ends of these that are in the instructions called tractor beam emitters, which is what, and they're sort of navigation sensors, I guess is what they are. But you can see everything here is fairly complete. I don't see, you know, any flash really on the parts. There's some flash on these edges of these sprues, but nothing serious. They're key indexed here, so you can see that they do go on a certain way. Kind of slide these out of the way now and move on to the next. Pretty much the same thing in this bag. We're not going to open up. These are the outer arms, and these are the inner bracing for the arms for the hangar bay doors, so there's not a lot to show you there. And some of the brackets to mount them onto the main hull of the Derelict itself. Now we start getting into some kind of interesting parts here. We'll go ahead and open this one up for you. This is the one half of the main hull of the Derelict. You can see it's pretty good size. Like I said, overall, when you look at it fully assembled, it's going to be about 18 inches or so. But this is nice and smooth. No major defects there. We'll have to see how well the seam lines up. We're going to have to do some putty work along this main seam here. You can see you've got a slot here for the mounting rod that's included with this. We'll show you that in just a second. It comes with a sort of a Polar Lights type mounting base display stand with the metal rod and the sort of dome display stand. Up here we have a smaller key right here for if you chose to, you could mount the Jupiter 2 orbiting around with the included wire that they give you with this, orbiting around the top part of the Derelict itself. So you got some options of what you choose to do there. Here's the dome that goes on the end cap. Actually, this is the displayed base. I take that back. You can see it's kind of a mini version of the Polar Lights display stand. I'm probably going to use a regular Polar Lights base to display this because it'll be a little bit more stable, and I'm going to use a 9-volt battery and a switch like we did for some of our other projects here for our lighting. This part right here goes on the end of the Derelict itself here, which is the mounting position for the hangar doors. And here we get into the detail that we're talking about, some more little round pod sections that attach onto the main hull. This is part of the hangar door assembly. These are the inner sort of stiffening brackets, if you will, for the mounting and display rods that go on the inside. Another part of the dome feature here for the outside of the this is sort of the end cap that goes on the dome. I believe it goes on this side here, which is nice. These nice little kind of rivets that are there for detail. That looks pretty good. And we'll grab the second half of this other bag here. And inside, in there we can see that we have the, kind of clear some of this out here, it's kind of cluttered. We've got the other main half of the hull and our clear parts for some of the detail. Again, pretty nice looking mold here. Don't see any big defects or anything in that. It should clean up real nice, and we'll just have to do our putty work around the seams here. But here we have another bag of clear parts, and these are interesting detail parts that you can see that are sort of attached onto the outside. Got this nice little clear orbs. They look nice and clean. They almost look like they're crystal almost. They're pretty cool looking, pretty nicely done. And different shapes that we have here, those attach on the outside of the ship. I thought when I was, before I opened this kit, that you'd probably have to do a lot of assembly on that, but they're actually pretty intricate and they're already put together for you, so that's pretty cool. And here we have the wire that's included for mounting the Jupiter 2, and either the you can either have it displayed on the bottom side of the there's a sort of a little collar that goes on there with a set screw that you can have it displayed on the bottom side, or you can mount it up on the top like we talked about. And here's the support rod for mounting it onto the base, which is unfortunately not hollow. Would have been nice if they would have given you a hollow rod with this, so if you wanted to do lighting you could pass it up through there, but we've got some hollow tubing that we'll be using here to replace that with in brass. And then here we have the backdrop assembly like I talked about. You can see we have sort of the main floor, which I'll be making my own. I'll use this as a template, and I'll make my own out of sheet styrene, and I'll do a paint job sort of similar to that. But here we have the backdrop, which has these tentacles hanging down, and you can see these different ones. Now we're going to go ahead and probably use this as our template as well, so we can make it fit, and we'll curve it and everything. And we're going to make that out of sheet styrene, and I'll just paint that flat black. But we're going to make our own tentacles hanging down here. We'll use, like I said, I haven't made up my mind what will work best yet. Either we'll use some hot glue, or we'll take a bunch of sprues and melt it and stretch it out just to give that effect. And then it's going to look really neat when we do our interior lighting. I'm going to be using some RGB type bulbs that sort of change colors and give it a kind of weird psychedelic look in there. The original film or original episode was done in black and white, so you couldn't really tell, but I'm assuming that they probably had some really interesting wild kind of colors going on in there. And then of course that with our fusion core of our Jupiter 2, you know, sitting here parked, it's kind of spinning around. That should look really cool. And so there you have it, guys. There's a look at the Mobius 1/350 scale Derelict. I'm really pleased that they came out with this kit. For the 50th anniversary, they just kind of repopped a lot of their existing kits that they released, but this is a brand new kit, first time it's ever been done, and from one of the more popular episodes of the classic television show, so I'm really excited about building that, and you guys are going to get to see that on the show here. We're going to start that. We're currently working on the Man in Space project, and I think we're going to kick this one off and work on that at the same time, just kind of step by step, and take you through a little segment of each one in upcoming episodes as we go along here, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the kit review first, and then we'll move on there, probably starting next week with the initial buildup of this thing. So it should be a lot of fun. We'll take you through the whole thing, show you how we light it and everything. So we have that one for you guys. Okay, that's a wrap. We're going to move on to our next segment now. We'll take a quick break and come right back, everybody. Okay, everybody, back with you again. I hope you enjoy the out-of-the-box kit review on the Derelict. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, I was planning on maybe starting that one off next week, but thanks to the super speedy service from Ralph at Tenant Controls, I got the boards in within just a couple of days after talking to him about it and what I wanted to do. So we got the model all finished and put together this week, and so I put together a little slideshow showing the construction of the model and what I did to make everything work. And then a little video of the finished model at the end with the demonstration of the lighting effects and some sound effects that I built into it. So we're going to show you that now, and when we come back for that, we'll head over to the bench and be working on our Gemini Titan II rocket from our Man in Space kit. So sit back and enjoy that one, everybody. Be right back. Alright everyone, well here we are with a video shot of our 1/350 scale Mobius Lost in Space, the Derelict. And I hope you guys enjoyed the slideshow we had there for you of this all getting put together. Had a wonderful time building this model. Typical Mobius, everything went together beautiful. It's a fairly low parts count kit, so not a lot of parts to deal with, but the parts that were here were really well engineered and it all went together really nice. Very minimal amount of seam repair to do on it and all that. And it's just a really fun kit. You can see it's about 17 or 18 inches long when it's all together, so it's a nice sized model at 1/350 scale. And it's a really nice representation of the original studio prop we saw from the episode The Derelict, which was one of the really early episodes of Lost in Space. I think it was the second episode overall in season 1. And this was just a really iconic alien ship design that kind of stuck with us a lot, and I'm glad they chose to bring this one out for the 50th anniversary of Lost in Space. And now the episode was originally shot in black and white, so nobody's really sure what color this was originally. So everybody that's building it out there is kind of putting their own interpretation on it. Now what I decided to do with mine is I went with a sort of a dirty silver color, like a pewter color, and made my mixed up my color for that. But the interesting thing that you'll see on here is that we've got this texture going on the surface, which you can see it's supposed to look like it's really beat up and old. That was one detail you noticed when they got really close to it, just before they got pulled inside during the episode. And in order to achieve that, I used some stuff in a spray can from 3M. It's just called a texture compound, and it sprays on in clear. It took about 2 coats, and it laid down pretty nice and even. Gives you, it's not uniform either. It sort of changes up on you, which I really liked. And I just put that down on there and let it dry, and then I sprayed over that with my primer, and then I went over top of that with my base coat. But I've got this thing multi-layered here, and after I got all my pewter color on there, I went over it with some iridescent. It's kind of hard to see it in the camera here, but you'll see that there's some red and there's some green iridescent on this here and there. Hopefully it'll show up in the camera for you. The bright light in here reflecting on it, it's kind of washing it out a little bit, but in person it looks really, really cool. And then I just went over top of that here and there with my darker color in my airbrush and put some texture on it here and there to make it, give it a little bit of character, like it's kind of worn out. And had a lot of fun doing that. You can see the detail here at the back, especially these antenna arrays or whatever they were. They're really accurate to the original prop, which is cool. And we've got it mounted on this nice little Polarized base. The kit comes with a base similar to this, but it's much smaller in diameter, and there wasn't enough room in there to put my switch. And I've got a soundboard in this, and I've got a 9-volt battery that's down in there that's powering the entire thing. And what I did with the base is I just did a star field on it that you can see there, and then I did some kind of green nebula looking clouds, which I saw in a couple of the backgrounds in some of the color episodes of Lost in Space, and thought that might look neat. But that worked out really good. I just had to modify the hole in the bottom of the model to make it a little bit bigger, because the rod for the polar lights is just a slightly little bit bigger diameter. But it's a hollow one, so I was able to pass my wires up through there, where the Mobius supplied one is a solid rod. So you're going to have to substitute that if you want to run any lighting up inside this, which I decided I wanted to do. About 2 weeks ago I decided to start building this, and so I knew I wanted to do some lighting. I wanted to try to light the fusion core on the miniature Jupiter 2, and also some interior lighting inside this, which I got this idea of, since it was done in the 60s, that they might have some cool kind of psychedelic looking colors, so I wanted to do some RGBs in there. And so I gave my good friend Ralph at Tenant Controls a call, and we started kind of bouncing some ideas around, and in a matter of a couple of days I got a board from Ralph, and I'm really, really happy with it. You guys will be able to order one of these boards from him at www.tenantcontrols.com. It's a beautiful little board. You saw a picture of it in the slideshow there, and it's really small, so you can either put it in the base or you can put it up inside the model. There's plenty of room either way you want to go. But so what the board does is it controls the fusion core effect. We get the nice rotating effect on the Jupiter 2, which we'll show you that in just a second here on the interior. And then it also controls a couple of RGBs that I mounted inside from different angles that give us this really neat looking effect of kind of a weird alien interior, which is exactly what we were hoping for. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the power on, and we'll have a look inside. And you can see that we've got our really nice little Jupiter 2 with our fusion core spinning there. And I achieved that by installing 6 0805 SMDs in the bottom in the fusion core in a circle. There was just enough room to get them in there. And then we've got those, the wiring harness basically runs out of the back of the Jupiter and into the wall there so you can't see it. And then that runs over to our control board. And we had to kind of play with this a little bit. The first board we tried, the fusion core was a little bit too slow, so the second board that Ralph tweaked on a little bit sent me, it's just right. It gives a beautiful effect. And then you can see we've got this really cool color changing effect going on in here. I'll tell you what I did there. Over here on the side, about here, I've got 5mm RGB mounted, just right flush against the wall in there, and it's sort of angled upward. The same thing on the other side in the exact same spot. And the board is controlling those. It runs the one on this side first for about 20 seconds, and then it runs the other one for 20 seconds, so it switches back and forth. And that way you get some sort of angled, multi-angled effects going on in there that hit from different sides, and I thought that would look pretty cool. And we've also got a third one that's directly up on the top here, pointing straight down, that's hooked directly to the power, which not to the board itself, so that it's always running. And I wanted to have that so that we don't have any lapse in the shifting back and forth, and I wanted to have sort of a spotlight coming straight down onto the Jupiter 2 itself. And the neat effect with that is that as they keep going, they start mixing the colors together, and so you get all these, almost an infinite amount of colors. And you'll see that once in a while they, like one of my favorite parts is when the red one hits and the blue's going on at the same time. Like right there, you can see it sort of makes those stalagmites that are hanging down look like, really cool. And to make the stalagmites, that's just basically some stretched hot glue. I laid a bead of hot glue down on a piece of glass so it wouldn't stick, and then I just kind of smeared it around and spread it around a little bit into these weird shapes and let it dry, and then I just pulled it off of there and hot glued it to the ceiling, and in various places where I thought it would look good, and kind of leaving it open in the middle so you could see the Jupiter. And then I added the little 350 scale figures in there for some more detail, but that all worked out really good. The model does come with a backdrop that has some of those sort of spiderwebby stalagmite looking things, and I painted the hot glue there with some iridescent blue and green and stuff to sort of try to match up the color that those were. And so even when the lights aren't on, they have some color on them. So it worked out really good, and it's easily done. So you can add all those own details to yours if you want to try that. But it worked out really great, and I'm really happy. Ralph, again, right on top of it, stepped right up to the challenge, and he got me this board in just a couple of days. So thanks again a bunch for that, Ralph. I really appreciate that. Made another one of my dreams come true here. So now, guys, what we have here to show you finally is we've added some sound to this too. I'm using one of my TrekWorks soundboards in this, and I just loaded on a sound of the opening sequence of the episode, the Derelict, when they first discover the Derelict and when they get pulled inside. So we're going to play that for you before we wrap this up here, guys. Here we go with that.
Maybe it's an asteroid. And it's not Alpha Centauri?
No, dear. Give us a 3-second boost. We should be able to see it now.
It's a spaceship.
Let's move in closer. This is as close as we go. Let's get around the other side then. All right, if you insist. Well, look at that thing. Where's your scientific curiosity? All in one basket, Alpha Centauri.
What's it made of?
Probably some alloy we've never even heard of. You can baffle the spectrometer.
Where do you think it's from?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
It looks like a ghost ship. If it was in the path of that comet, the heat may have destroyed whatever life there was on board.
I'd like to make sure. A ship that size. Think of the payload it must be carrying, the fuel and the power unit. Wait, it might even have a guidance system that could help us no matter where it's from. It's moving in. No, we are. It's pulling us. I can't break away. We're going to collide. Into the back of the thing, all of you.
Well, there you go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the little segment we had here on this beautiful kit from Mobius and the Derelict. Like I said, one of my favorites here, and I hope you guys will pick one of these up yourselves and get going on one of these guys. It's a lot of fun, and you'll love the model when you're finished with it, okay? All right, guys, we're going to wrap this segment up, come back to you in just a couple seconds. We're after a quick break, everyone. Stay tuned. Okay, everybody, well, here we are back to work on the bench on our Man in Space kit that we started on last week. And we started off here with the Gemini rocket, which is a Titan II. And you can see that since last episode I've done a little bit of work on this. I've got the sections that we worked on, our seams and everything, getting that all cleaned up and filled in with putty. We got that all sanded down and got the two sections put together. We've got our little capsule mounted on the top, and I did just a little bit of detail painting on this. The colors that you see here are what they recommend in the decal call-outs here, which I looked at the box art as well, and I looked at some pictures online. They give you these real kind of limited instructions here as far as where the decals go, but we'll get this figured out. So to get the detail correct on this rocket, you have to do this amount of painting on it first. We get a lot of markings on the decals, but not all of them. And you can see that we've got to paint some of these gray areas, and we've got to paint this little black area here on the bottom, which I just masked off and painted all that, painted the capsule black, painted the overall rocket in a basic satin white here to begin with. And then our little gimbal assembly that we worked on last week, getting that all cleaned up and everything and put together, we've got that all installed here and painted. They show it just being black on the bottom with the exhaust cones here in silver with some kind of black trim around the very bottom half of them. So we did it like that. So we're ready to start putting the decals on here for the finishing touches of this. Now we've got about maybe 10 or 15 decals to put on this. So one thing to note here is that if you look at the pictures here on the decal placement, you can see that we have this little area right here that's in gray, and then there's a white open area here where these sort of checkerboard decals fit. Now, so what I had to do is I had to lay this decal on here, and I had to space it accordingly so that we just get the white coming through, and then the lower half of it, this section of it's supposed to be, you know, with a gray background. So we had to do it like that because this is a transparent decal. Up here on the top, this little area right here, we just had a wrap that goes around here with like some white stripes and these little kind of black details here, whatever they are, that kind of wrap around this upper area like this. So we had to make sure that we kind of, you know, kept everything spaced evenly when we did our painting. So let's go ahead and get these put on, and that'll be the finish of this first rocket for tonight. And then next week, on next week's show, we'll move on to the next rocket in the build, which will be the Mercury Redstone. That'll be really fun because that's one of my favorites. So what I'm doing here just with these decals, you know, you don't always have to dip these in water. I just take a little my pump spray bottle here and just soak them down real good, just like this, and let them sit on my little towel here, my microfiber towel, which won't let any junk get in them or anything like that. And just give it a couple seconds here. We'll spritz down the model itself with a little bit of water. I've got a paper towel here so that we can wipe off the excess water as soon as we get the decal where we want it. And while I'm sitting here, I'm going to go grab my Walther's solva set just while we have the chance, just in case we get a decal that's a little stubborn. I don't like to use it unless I have to. We'll see how the decals lay down. There are these little ridges here that go around the sides that the decal has to kind of snug up against, so we might have to use a little bit of that on there, but it'll just take a second for our decals to break free here, and we'll get these going. Like I said, there's about 10 or 15 decals we need to put on this, so I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the rest of these out. We've got one here that says United States in black. It's number 6 here, so we'll get this one removed. Get that one out of the way, and let's see, we've got these white stripes over here in the corner. Got a little tiny USA flag here. Let's see, is it calling for, yeah, it's calling for number 12, I believe. Number 1, okay, let's check that out. Yeah, it's one of these really, really small ones here, so we'll get that. This goes up on the capsule. And let's see, what else do we have here? We've got the 2 big ones, got the United States, and then the 4 stripes. So we're good. That's all the decals we have, so not quite as many as I thought. But let's just give these a quick check now and see if they're starting to come loose for us. A little bit more water on this one. I don't like to, most of the time I don't like to soak my decals completely in water anymore, because I've wound up getting distracted by something and have them sitting in the water too long, and they, you know, they break free and wind up, you know, in a jumble in the middle of the, you know, in the bottom of the water bowl. So if you do put them in water, just soak them in the water and take them out right away and put them on a towel like this, and let them settle that way. Otherwise you could forget, like I said, and have a problem there. Okay, so we've got this one that's ready to go, and it the way you can see it here is it's got these three stripes that are kind of closer together, and then three that are farther apart, and three that are closer together on the bottom. The closer together ones go towards the bottom side. So we're going to put this on, and it goes basically right below this upper area right here. And we're going to find out how well these fit, guys. Pretty gosh darn good, it looks like. A little bit of water on there to help them out a little bit. That looks great. Added some nice detail on there. Okay, I'm just going to take my paper towel now and kind of tamp it down a little bit here and get rid of the excess water. Well, these babies are settling down really good. I like these. They seem to be conforming real nice to those little ridges that are there. Okay, you can see that detail on there. That really looks nice, and they line up nice and straight and everything. Got a little spot right here in the center where it's trying to raise up a little bit. I think I'm going to just lightly brush on a little bit of Walther's on this, just to make sure. Just in these little spots right here. Get it to settle down just where these little ridges are. Don't need a lot of that stuff. Okay, now we'll do our second one here, which as I mentioned, it lines up right on this little section right here, so a little bit more water added back on this. These are breaking loose nicely. Modern decals, much improved over the old school ones we used to have to work with. Okay. And we have that one. And here you go, you can see that one on there now. That looks really good, really good. These decals sort of have a interestingly, they have a sort of a matte finish on them too, which is kind of cool. They're not really glossy like we usually see. So we've got this. Let's see what we want to do first here. We've got this United States one. Let's go ahead and do these 4 white stripes first. Get those soaking down. Get our little American flag soaking down here. That is one tiny flag. Okay, I'm going to grab my tweezers here just to give me a little hand here for pushing that flag into the right place. It's going to be really small. I'll just give it a second to cure up. But like I said, I'm really enjoying this little kit. It's a great little, you know, these rockets aren't super huge, which is good for me because I don't have a lot of shelf space anymore. And so I'm just going to come up with some kind of creative way to display these. You know, there's no stands for these smaller rockets. The Saturn V has a you know, the cardboard gantry and the you know, the launch pad that it sits on, but these little ones don't come with anything, so we're gonna have to get kind of creative. I think I'm gonna go over to Michael's or something like that and pick up a wooden base, and I'm going to take some clear leftover clear sprue, I believe, and just make sort of a little, you know, like a little piece that comes up like this with a 90-degree turn on it, and just have that glued on the back side just to kind of hold them, you know, support them up, and have them just, you know, slightly off of the deck there. And maybe we'll get some figure out a way. Maybe Jerry can print something for me, or I'll figure something out where we can have the names of each rocket in front of them or something like that. I don't want to go crazy on it, but something kind of cool. I don't want to have them just laying on their sides like this, so we'll come up with something on that. Show you guys how that all works out a little bit later. Okay, we should be getting pretty close to having our decals freed up here. These seem to be loosening up pretty fast. Okay, our United States one is loose. I might as well go ahead and put that one on first. You can see that they have this where it sort of extends down into the white just a little bit, so we'll make sure we get that in the right place here. Looks like it's, I had it line up with the center of the engines, but it looks like it's supposed to be just off to the side a little bit. Alright, got that one. Just taking a look to make sure it's all nice and straight looking. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, like that. So far so good, guys. Really nice. Okay, now we've got these stripes. These might be a little tricky. Get all of our little... I should have clipped that away from the decal sheet. These little numbers for the decals all kind of went nuts. They look like a bunch of little ants running around on there. Let's get rid of those. Don't want those to go on there and get all over the model. Okay, I've got rid of those, got that cleaned up. Got our little white stripes now. And looks like they go on right about there. Just kind of evenly spaced, it looks like. One there, one there, and one there. Okay, so just make sure we keep things symmetrical here. That looks pretty good. Yeah, these are really nice quality decals. Whoever makes these, some of these other companies should give them a ring. But there you go, guys. A couple of stripes on there. We got two more to do here, so we'll just roll it over real gentle and put these last two on. I think we're going to need just a tiny little bit of water there to help this one out. Okay, they look good to me. Very nice. Okay. Last one. Then we just put the flag on the top and we're done with this one, guys. You guys can hear that in the background, but I can tell we're getting into spring here in Texas. We got our friends, the mourning doves, are back. They're called mourning doves, but they make sound all day. It's interesting. But you can tell we're starting to warm up when they come back. Okay. Just moved on me just a little bit there. It's always that last touch and you wind up bumping it. There you go. We got our stripes on. They look good too, nice and symmetrical. Maybe these need to come together just a little bit more. Yeah, I think the other ones are closer. That's okay, we can deal with that. There. I'm happy now. Okay guys, doesn't that look nice? You can see our nice little Titan II. Like we talked about, this was originally an intercontinental ballistic missile, which I'm not sure, we might even still be using those. I'm not sure about that, but okay, and then we've got our flag here. It's so tiny in the picture that you can't really see. Almost looks like there's some little white lettering on the top of it. I'm going to put my magnifying goggles on here and see if I could see on the picture there if it's which way it's supposed to go, because you really can't see it too well there. It looks like the lettering goes on the top. It says United States in really small letters there. So we're going to go ahead and put that on. Get my tweezers to give me a hand here. That one doesn't want to make the curve very well for some reason, so we'll just hit that with a little bit of Solvaset. That took care of that right away. It settled right on there. Alright, well there we have it, guys. Take my goggles off here. There's our Titan II. Let me get you a little closer here, and you can see that's a nice little rocket. And you can see it's with our little paint detail added there that really brought this to life. Very simple to put this together so far, so I'm really loving this little build. We'll finish this up in a little while. I won't have time to do it here because we got to let these settle for a little while and get nice and dry, but this will all get sealed up with some Tester's dull coat, once these are all settled down good for us, and then she'll be locked in place forever and ready for display. So there's the first of our rockets, guys. I hope you're enjoying this little series here. We'll come back next week and do the prep work and pre-assembly and some of the assembly work on the next rocket, which I said will be the Redstone, which that one should go pretty fast. We might even be able to do that whole rocket in one episode because it's basically it's the smallest of the rockets in the entire kit, and I think just the body on it's all one piece. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do the next go around I'll do the putty work ahead of time and get that ready to go so that you guys can see me painting it. It'll probably need to be painted a little bit, obviously. A little bit. I'm just looking at the instructions right now. We'll have to paint the bottom half of it white and the capsule black and all that. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have everything pre-painted, and then we'll just get it. We'll show it being assembled for you guys next week, and then we'll do the final decals and everything all in one shot. So this is a nice little kit, like I said, and I can't wait to get to the Saturn V because we're going to have fun building the rocket itself, plus all of the massive gantry and everything that goes with it that comes with this kit. It's a nice little paper cardboard model, which I haven't done very many of those, so that'll be fun working on that. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this up now. That's the final segment in our show today, so we're going to come back right after this and head over to our shout-outs and see what you guys are talking about tonight, and answer some questions for you guys if you have any. So we'll see you with that in just a couple seconds. Be right back, everyone. Okay, back with you again, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed the work we did on the Gemini Titan II rocket. Got that one all finished up. I'm really happy with that, and I'll think about how I'm going to mount those things a little bit later on. I'm going to keep it real simple. Shelf space is starting to get to be a real premium in my display room, so I'm just going to come up with some kind of narrow little strip of wood, I think, and just have them kind of all sitting on there. But I'm going to attach something on the back side of them, have them just kind of just off the surface a little bit. But the fun one will be the Saturn V, because it's like 5 or 6 times bigger than the other rockets we're building here, and it has that big gantry that goes with it. So that's going to be really cool for the cap for this whole build. I was watching some of the chat roll through while we were going through that video there, and I saw some of you guys had some questions about the big De Boers Reliant, and I thought I would show you guys. This is the Reliant, and if you can see it here in this shot without this, maybe if I turn my overhead lighting off here, this will help reduce some of the glare. If I can get this, this thing will barely fit in the view here. But if you can see in the picture here, guys, these spots that I'm pointing at right here, especially this huge one right here, and there's a couple up on the top and over here on this area right here and up along this area. Those are spots where the resin has gone bad on the kit, unfortunately. And I've been fighting with this issue here for quite a while on this thing now. And it turns out that it's basically an uncurable problem. This has been primered with what they call a double two-part epoxy primer, which is like the most powerful primer you can on the face of the planet. It's meant to even hold up to like severe saltwater applications and stuff. And after I applied that over top of where we had this kind of weeping going on here, it took about a week and it came right back through. So that means that you cannot paint this thing without having these big stains starting to appear on it. Now they appear to be only in certain areas. I mean, I haven't noticed that they've spread anywhere further than where they originally started to appear on this thing. So that means that there's just some areas here where I guess the resin didn't cure all the way, or you can't really see anything on the backside because it's laminated. This is the construction on these De Boers models is laminated like a boat, if you want to think of it like that. It's got a resin center, and then it's got a laminated fiberglass surface on it on the interior and on the top. And so there's a fault in between, the laminate there, and it's just working its way through, and it's a weeping thing. You can even feel it if you run your finger over it. They're like these sort of like blisters that are popping up. So unfortunately, this kit is really useless. And the bad news is that the kit can't be used, but the good news is that I've got 2 of these kits, and so you guys are eventually going to get to see. You're going to eventually get to see this built, because the other kit that I have here, which these were both molded at the same exact time, it has no problems at all. It's been sitting all this time, and if it was going to start, developing this problem, it would have happened already. So all is not lost. But like I said, it's just a shame because these are really, really expensive, and I'm just kind of waiting to see what my client wants to do. I haven't heard from him in quite a while, and he bought these kits from De Boers, so he's got to have to work that out with them as far as what they want to do on, getting this replaced or whatever. So it's a real shame, but it is what it is. You deal with when you're dealing with garage kits and things like that from time to time, and things that are as complex as that from time to time, you're going to have issues, and you just have to kind of work your way around it. But like I said, if you buy one of these directly yourself from Dennis, I'm sure that he will work something out with you as far as getting it replaced over at De Boers hulls. I know that issue's popped up on a couple of the other resin molds that he's had out there. One fella had a De Boers refit that he had almost completely finished. I mean, it was a beautiful model. It had all the Aztecs done and everything. I mean, I think he worked on it for like a year and a half, and that started happening to it. And he drove all the way from Florida up to Dennis's shop, which is in South Dakota, and Dennis took a look at it and basically molded him a brand new kit right on the spot and gave it to him. But he still lost a whole lot of work there. I'm just glad I didn't have it already painted and spent, hours and hours and hours on the Aztec painting on it, and then had that happen. So it's kind of a, there's a little silver lining to the whole story. And like I said, we'll eventually get around to building the second kit, and you guys will get to see that at some point down the road. I've got a lot of other projects ahead of it now, so don't expect it anytime soon, but maybe towards next fall or so I plan to get back to work on that. But anyways, guys, we're going to head over now to our Q&A and our shout-outs for tonight and see what you guys are talking about. Looks like we had a good crowd on hand tonight for an Easter Sunday. That's pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed your Easter. I'm going to roll back up to the top here and call out everybody that's here tonight. We've got the Kit Base here with us tonight. Shannon Freeman, John Petrie, Mike Kovach, Clint Llewellyn, Gary M. Lee Chambers is here tonight. Alpha Trion 92, Obsesor. George Volkowski, Sean McClure, Star Siege Player, Eddie Perez, Gary M. is here tonight, Jonathan Milbury, T. Commando, Chuck Brooks is here tonight. Nice to see you, Chuck. I've been meaning to catch up with you guys on Uvu. I just didn't get a lot of time. Been pretty busy here the last week and a half or so. Got DeWitt Shainlon here tonight. Nice to see you, D. Red shirt forever. Brian Knowles is here tonight. Nice to see you, Brian. James Kirk. Matthew Haran. I hope I'm saying that right. B. Tilly. Nice to see you, Bill. I see somebody commented here. They looked it up. It looks like the Titan II is retired. Yeah, I didn't know if they were still using that one or not. I'm not even sure what they're using now. Maybe the Minuteman or something like that. I'm having a lot of fun building this little kit. And like I said, these first couple of rockets are not that big, but the Saturn V is a really big model. So it'll keep getting more interesting as we go. They should look all really cool. Like I said, I just think it's a nice kit because they're all in scale, and you can get an idea of how much bigger the Saturn V was than all the rest of them. So it's going to be pretty neat when it's all done. We have James Schulenberg. I'm not sure if I said your name. We've got Michelle Bennett. Nice to see you, Michelle. Gardy. Lee Chambers. Steve Baker's here. Eric Hawkins just checked in. Mark Shue is with us tonight. Dan Harris. Sean McClure. Rocket Boy 1969, nice to see you. Dana Church is here with us too. Star Siege Player. Gadgetron 3000 is here with us. Triskillion's here. Yeah, Gadgetron, the idea of the laminating design on this Reliant is to keep it really lightweight. And it is extremely light, but it's also extremely strong. We have metal armature that we had made. If you go back and look at some of the videos that I shot on this project, which we will, like I said, we will continue on with that when we get around to starting on the second kit. It's a shame because I've got all the windows and everything cut in on this, which, believe it or not, the window work on this was hours worth of work. It's all hand filed and cut out because this stuff is really tough. It's not like cutting out styrene at all. It's a whole lot of work, and I also did all the work on the bottom half of the shell as well, and it's got some bleed spots on it too, so both the top and the bottom half. The only parts that are still salvageable on that kit are the solid resin cast parts, like the little impulse deck and the bridge. some of the small parts, but other than that, all the main hull parts are not usable. But like I said, we do have a second kit, and so the project will still be seen a little bit later. It's going to be an incredible build. We've got some nice masks that we're having made for it, so we can do the Aztec panels. The Aztec panels on the Reliant are completely different than they are on the Enterprise refit, so all that had to be custom made and everything, and it'll be beautiful when it's done. I've got a really nice multi-photon firing board from Ralph, and I had all the electronics and everything for it all worked out. And we did like I said, we did a nice metal support armature for the interior of it, which you absolutely have to use a metal armature on these models, these big De Boers kits. I've seen a few people build them out there, and they didn't use an armature on it, and they wound up with sagging nacelles and crooked stuff. And if it's not crooked now, it will be after a year or two without the support. They're just way too big and heavy, and they just De Boer himself recommends you put a metal armature inside that. Clint Llewellyn's asking if you can use hot glue to glue wood to glass. You sure can, Clint. The hot glue will glue just about anything together. Yeah, it seems kind of funny that we're doing this little 1/1000 scale kit to that compared to that De Boers Reliant. I mean, the 1000 scale kit's barely as big as the bridge on the or the BC deck on that De Boers kit, but it's still a really fun kit to work with. I'm really looking forward to continuing on with the diorama. We'll have an update on that on either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be putting out an update once a week on that. And we're not going to skip anything either. We're going to show you exactly where we left off from each video to each video, so that some of the new people out there who haven't done lighting and stuff before, it'll save me having to answer a lot of questions, because they'll be able to see every little detail on the build series, so they can basically build their own exact replica of it if they want to, and follow along with the way I do mine with the lighting and everything. And we're going to get it mounted on a nice display base. We're going to go with a backlit. Instead of having the flat part of the base lighting, we're going to have a backlit upright background of the Matara Nebula, and then some kind of cool flashing effects going on, and some sounds and all that. So that will be really cool. Somebody's asking about the kit base. Are you looking forward to the new Round 2 Excelsior? Yeah, I'm sure I'll get one of the kits. It looked to be pretty nice from the pictures that I saw. I saw that they made some improvements. I think it's an all-new mold. So yeah, I'll definitely get one of those kits. I think the word out there on that was when when Round 2 brought out the Enterprise B, they had to use the original mold for the Excelsior, and they destroyed the mold, the original mold, in the making of the B, so they had to create a brand new mold, which was not a bad thing, because the original was lacking quite a bit of detail. So I think they improved on that a little bit. Stephen Baker says he likes the rocket kit. Yeah, if you can find one of these, I paid around $30 for this kit. I think it's worth every penny of it. I mean, like I said, it's simple to build, and it gets a little bit more complex as you get into the bigger rockets, especially the Saturn V, because they give you all the internal parts on that one too. You know, the lunar module and all that's in there, and all the internal details. And it's, like I said, it's huge. It's like that tall compared to these other rockets, and so and the gantry that comes with it's really cool too. So it'll be a beautiful little display when it's done, and for $30 you can't beat that. and you're building 5 different models. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I didn't have any real space stuff to display in my room there, so I'm glad I finally got that. I think I'm going to eventually do a Apollo 11 lunar landing module too. They've got some really nice kits out for that now. I mean, super detailed, like where it looks like an exact replica of it. Since the days when I built them when they were a kid, they've improved those dramatically. So that's a pretty historical ship, so it'd be fun to build that too. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some battle damage on the, a couple of you guys wrote to me about that. The battle damage that we're going to do on the diorama in 1000 scale is right at the point when, basically after the Enterprise and the Reliant had their first showdown where they got a few licks in on each other, but not the scene where the Reliant's, I don't want to do the scene where the Reliant's whole engine is blown off. I don't want to do that much damage to the poor little model, but it'd be neat to see it built that way, because you could use, they have this fiber optic out there now called side firing fiber optics that you could put strands in there and do some lighting, some clever lighting inside that, and you could actually make it look like the, you know, the wires and stuff that were hanging out of that pylon are actually, you know, sparking and burning and stuff. So you could definitely do that effect if you wanted to do that kind of battle damage on the model. But we're gonna make the damage on the, I think it's on the port side of the refit where it got hit in the engineering section, and then it got hit once up in the saucer, and then the Reliant on the top, you know, where Kirk fired the phasers and they skimmed across the top of the Reliant and did a little bit of damage to it up there. That's what we're going to kind of do. We don't want to make them, you know, totally beat up, but it's kind of like right after the point when they first encountered each other. And I hope to be able to mount them. I'm going to have to see how much wiring I'm going to pass through there, but I hope to be able to mount them on the same kind of the swivel mount that I used on the Blue Thunder, so that we can have them, you know, we can pose them differently when we want to, you know, make them tilted and stuff like that. But we'll see. Depends on how much wire I have to pass up through there. There's only so much wire you can get up in there. I need to run one wire up in there for power to light everything. For the board, I'll have the board on the inside, but I have to have a separate wire going up in there that fires the trigger wire that fires the photon torpedo firing effects on both models. So we might be able to squeeze them in there. We'll see. George Vilkowski is asking about the lighting kit for the Derelict. It's already available, George. I asked Ralph if it was okay to show that and to talk about that, and he said he's ready to go. So if anybody decides they want one, you can just contact Ralph by emailing him, and he'll get you a kit. It's very inexpensive, and it works beautiful, and it will come with the RGB bulbs if you want them, and it's all set up and ready to go. And if you have any questions about, you know, wiring it up or whatever, I'll be happy to answer your questions for you. But I gave Ralph a full rundown on what I did, so he can help you too. It should show up on his website pretty soon. It might take him a little while before he officially announces it, but he's got it ready and available to go. You know, I told him it'd be a pretty good idea because I think the kit's going to be really popular. Like I said, I'm really happy that they chose that subject for the 50th anniversary. Now this means I've got all the Lost in Space kits built except the space pod. I bought the pre-built version of that, but I'm going to get a kit and build that one, you know, myself, and put the fusion core thing in there and maybe put the robot in it at some point. So I'll have the whole set of all the Lost in Space models that they have from Mobius all built. And I've enjoyed building every one of them. They're fantastic quality kits. Speaking of kits, guys, next week we'll have a surprise for you, another out-of-the-box review, and I'm going to go right into the build on that one while we're building the Man in Space kit here. I'm going to put off the little Nelly from James Bond for a little while, and all I can tell you at this point, I'll just keep it a surprise, but it's big, silver, and shiny, and it's going to hang from my ceiling instead of being on the shelf. That's one of the reasons I'm going to decide to build that one. I'm running out of shelf space, so some of the bigger models I'm going to build, I'm going to have to hang from the ceiling and stuff like that. So that one's going to be fun. It's not sci-fi, I'll tell you that much, but it's going to be pretty cool. Something that I have, it's a kit that I built a long time ago, and remembered how much I love the model and want to build another one just like it. So I think I can do a better job on it now with what I've learned too. So I'm looking forward to that. But we'll show you that next week. couple people trying to guess already. I'm not going to tell you if you're right, guys. I'm going to keep it a surprise. We'll have to wait till next week. Give everybody a reason to tune in. Scroll through here, see if I'm missing anything. Oh, we have Armando here. Nice to see you, Armando. I haven't seen you for a while. You've probably been busy at work. Bill Tilley's asking if I ever finished the bat signal for the Batmobile base. I have it all worked out, Bill. I just haven't had time to go back and mess with it. I've been absolutely swamped here. I've been busy at work, and I've been busy out here keeping up with all these. I've got client builds I'm working on, and I've got these builds I've got to keep up with you guys here every week, and then I'm doing one on the TrekWorks channel now too. So I've been pretty busy. But yeah, when I get that one finished up, I'll definitely bring that back out here and show it to you guys, because it's going to work good. I've already tested it and everything. It's going to look pretty cool. A couple of you guys commenting on the Derelict. Glad you like that one. That's a fun kit, guys. I recommend that if you're a fan of Lost in Space. It's just such a fun kit to put together, and with that little board from Ralph, you can really make it pop. And it's not that hard to do that lighting on the Jupiter at all. You can work that out pretty easy. Armando says he just posted some pictures of his Saturn V, so he just finished that one up. That's cool. I think that's the big Dragon kit he's been working on. That thing is huge. It's like 5 feet tall. Can't wait to see that. Sean McClure is asking about the 1/1000 diorama. Yeah, Sean, I did the intro on that, and then I did part 1 of the build. It's on the TrekWorks channel. It's been out since last Thursday, I think. And it showed going into the actual starting on the build. I was working on putting in the navigation lights on the Reliant and on the refit. And then next week we'll be continuing on with that, and we're going to start working on the lighting for the bridge and the planetary sensor on the bottom of both of the models. Get that all figured out. We'll be going on and working through all the lighting. We got to do the engines. I'm not sure if I'm going to light the engines, the warp engines on the Reliant or the refit, because they didn't use those when they were in the nebula. In fact, in the entire movie Star Trek II, if you notice, they never show the warp engines activated at all on the Reliant. It's always cruising by at sublight speed. So some people have asked if they actually were supposed to light up. I'm sure they did, because they're the same engines on the refit. They're just mounted upside down. I would assume that they would light up the same way, but I've always built my Reliant, my bigger Reliants, with the engines lit up in blue. But I know the later on when we see the ship in the Next Generation, they're shown lit up in blue. In fact, I think they show them lit up on both sides in a couple of the episodes, which is kind of interesting. But we're going to do the impulse engines. We're going to do the bridge. I'm going to have to come up with something interesting on the bridge, because looking at the kit, I saw that they're molded where they're just sitting flat on top of the BC deck. There's no slots around the edges for the light to come out, so I'm going to have to probably make those with a little file or something and open those up. But we'll show you every little thing we do on those guys, because that one is meant to be a series where it's a instructional series too, to like to show you how we do everything, and just kind of, instead of kind of skipping over a lot of things like I did once in a while, I want to try to do this kind of like I did on the refit build series, where you got to see pretty much every little thing going together, so people can figure out how to do it on their own just by watching the videos if they haven't done it before. Good night, John. John Petrie's got to check out. Yeah, he's really burning the midnight oil when he's up with us, guys. He's over in England, so it's I think, what is it, like six hours difference there, so it's or maybe even more. It's very early in the morning there for him. Couple of good guesses out there about what the surprise is, but I'm not going to give it away, guys. I'm going to be stubborn. James Kirk saying about the DeBoers, can you do battle damage to cover up the damaged areas? Well, you probably could, but it's not really my kit. It's a client's kit. And that would be, totally up to him if he decided to do that. I'm thinking what he's probably going to do is want to get it refunded or returned. DeBoers may want to have it back so they can see what the issue was or something like that. So I'm not touching it beyond trying to seal it. That's all I'm going to do with it. It's darn near a $2,000 model kit, so you don't just start battle damaging things and stuff like that with something like that. So we'll just have to see. But like I said, the second kit will, if it was going to develop any problems, it would have by now, because I got them both at the exact same time. So that one should be fine. And we will not miss out on the opportunity to get to see that being built. Wolbish 442 is somebody new, I think. Nice to have you on board with us tonight. Glad you could join the chat session. Hope everybody give you a nice warm welcome. We got a really friendly group of people here that has a blast in the chat session every night when we during the broadcast. Okay, folks, I think that's about a wrap for tonight. Don't want to keep everybody too long. It is Easter, and I'm sure you guys want to spend some time with your families. We'll be back next week for, let's see, it'll be episode 77 already. We're going to be hitting 100 pretty soon. It's going to be unbelievable. We'll have to do something special for the 100th show. So we've got a couple of people that I talked to at the Fiesta 35 model show that actually watch the show once in a while. And I've been talking to them a little bit on email, and they're wanting to come by here and maybe hang out in the shop for a one of our shows. And so we might have a guest or two on here in the near future. So that'd be pretty cool. And see what we do here in the shop. And, you can get it kind of from a different perspective. So that'd be kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how that works out. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed everything tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And keep sending those pictures in, guys. We really appreciate that when you do. And we'll have a new slideshow put together really soon. We love sharing that with our viewers here, the other people's work, so they can see all the different ideas that are going on out there. And keep up the good work, everybody. Build something this week, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Take care, everybody, and happy modeling, guys. Good night. Derelict.